Good afternoon. I'm Karen Holmes Ward. The White House is cracking down on speech on campuses and in classrooms, from the elimination of diversity, equity, and inclusion programs to what President Trump called illegal protests on college campuses. Last week, ICE agents arrested a former Columbia University student who led pro-Palestinian protests last year. He is in the country lawfully, a green card holder who's not been charged with any crime, but was taken into custody and sent to a detention center in Louisiana. So joining me now is Tracy Griffin. She's the director of the Massachusetts ACLU's Racial Justice Program. Welcome, Tracy. Let's begin with Mahmoud Khalil's detainment. President Trump said it was, quote, the first of many to come, unquote. And it's a very chilling message. Trump also, very chilling, isn't it?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
How did you feel when you heard that?
Well, it's deeply alarming. Essentially what the administration is saying is that they are going to crack down on people who advocate positions that the government opposes. Mm-hmm. And that's problematic for free speech.
Mm-hmm. Now, Trump posted on his social media site earlier this week that, quote, all federal funding will stop for any college, school, or university that allows illegal protests. And he has not defined what illegal protests are, but wants schools to expel agitators and also deport or imprison foreign students. What's the ACLU's response to this, and what is the signal here?
Well, obviously, this kind of evokes the horrors that we faced during McCarthyism, right? It's an attack on our ability and our right to free expression. Mm-hmm. It is an aggressive abuse of the immigration laws, right? Because they are focusing, in this moment, they are focusing on immigrants and folks who are here legally and who have the right to free speech just like everybody else. Mm. So it's very scary. Mm.
Now, the administration is clearing all mention of DEI in government and is threatening to pull funding from schools that continue with diversity programs. Isn't that also a form of censorship, a violation of free speech?
It absolutely is. And as a matter of fact, the ACLU has joined in a number of lawsuits that are addressing these exact issues. Free speech is a fundamental bedrock of our society, of our democracy. And without free speech, it's a very scary situation.
Talk more, if you would, about the ACLU's lawsuit with the teachers union about the elimination of these DEI programs.
Absolutely. So back in February, the administration issued the Dear Colleague letter, right? And essentially it, without any basis in facts or law, mm-hmm. as you mentioned, it's problematic in that it makes it very difficult for people who are teaching, our teachers, our educators, to even know what they can teach, mm-hmm. because it's very vague, mm-hmm. right? There are no real definitions mm-hmm. of what is acceptable. And let me tell you a little.
Intentionally vague.
Intentionally vague, yes. And that often will create a chilling effect. Mm-hmm. Teachers don't know what they can teach. And so let me tell you a little bit about the plaintiffs that are involved in this lawsuit. We've got an 8th grade social studies teacher, right? And her curriculum includes U.S. history from the Civil War to modern day. Now, we know that within that time period, there are a lot of things that could be considered diversity, equity, and inclusion mm-hmm. issues, right? Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. She's concerned that, her classroom discussions about issues of race and discrimination, obviously very significant during that time period, she's afraid to be able to teach that. How do you teach American history during that time period without mentioning race?
Yeah.
Right? So she's scared. Mm-hmm. We also have another one of our plaintiffs is a high school English teacher, and a lot of his work focuses on issues of gender and also issues of race. Mm. How does he teach literature and completely ignore those topics?
How is this going to impact children, students in the classroom?
Right. We believe that there's a right to learn and to understand this information and the information that, exists in our world. And how are students going to be able to understand the world around them? How are they going to be educated when they have, I guess, what could be called a block on the information that they need to become productive societal members?
Productive, knowledgeable, and able to decipher fact from fiction.
Exactly.
So one of the president's first day executive orders pertained to free speech. He mentioned it again in his joint session of Congress, but his actions suggest that he's politicizing the First Amendment. Is that what's happening?
It absolutely is. They're using the First Amendment against those that oppose them. And that's extremely problematic for our democracy, right? Because it might be this administration this time around, and the next time it could be another administration. The First Amendment is not a political tool. It cannot be used by liberals or conservatives against those who they disagree with. That is inherently problematic. The First Amendment is there as a bedrock of our society so that there's a free exchange of ideas, particularly political speech, so that we have the information we need to be able to self-govern. And without that, with the threat of removing First Amendment rights, that is extremely problematic.
And while we're talking about education and classroom, what's the ACLU and your position on book bans?
Oh my. So again, if we don't allow our students to understand, to have access to information, to help educate themselves, and oftentimes we recognize that the bans or the ways in which we're looking to censor certain information usually has to do with race or gender. And so that type representation matters, and it's important that those folks from those marginalized groups have access to information about themselves. But also, all students have access to information about marginalized groups because there's history there. There are things that need to be understood that make us a better and a whole society.
Interestingly, people might assume that these kinds of book bans are happening in red states, but Massachusetts has a very high percentage of banned books.
Yes, book challenges, I think it was a few years ago, Massachusetts was ranked 4th in the United States for book challenges. It happens here. We are not immune to this type of censorship activity.
Tracy Griffith, thank you for being here. Tracy Griffith is the director of the Massachusetts ACLU's Racial Justice Program. Fight the good fight. Thank you so much.